I want to thank you, especially, we want to thank you, one person especially. We learned a lot of her. We owe her a lot. I personally owe her a lot because she taught me many things. First of all, she taught me friendship, and then she taught me how to do a good conference and how to find the best topics. She's here among us. Christa Maar, you come, stand up. Christa Maar, she is the president of the Hubert Burda Foundation, and already in '95, she did a conference, a remarkable conference on brain and computer, 95. So she's really a pioneer of good conferences, of smart topics, she's always cutting edge. Christa, thank you so much.
Ein Vorbild, Chris.
And now, Gina Kehoff, come on stage. Welcome to our art panel. Gina, come to me what do we expect now? Gina is a longtime friend. You know, we have a lot of DLD friends, but Gina I know since many years here in Munich. Yes. And she was always connected with the art world here in Munich. What did you do the last 10 years?
Oh, well, the last 10 years I did many different things. I had a publishing company, which kind of I gave up. And the last 2 years I decided to live in Paris, or I live in Munich, but I work in Paris, so part of my life is in Paris, actually. And I'm the Directeur Général of a French company, which is a filiale of ArtNet Worldwide, an ArtNet AG based in Berlin. So this is my life between Munich and Paris. And I invited for DLD Marie-Jo Lafontaine and Jennifer Flay. Does it work? Yes, you hear me? Yeah. This was a little video we did. It's a compilation of some of my concerns in Paris, in the Paris office of ArtNet. I try to invite as much as important people who are members of the art scene, international art scene. And last week we had, you just saw Jeff Koons, and a couple of weeks ago, Baselitz, or a couple of months ago, Gilbert and George. And it's a very, you can view most of the videos online on our site, ArtNet FR. ArtNet is a platform to sell, buy, and get many informations about art. And one of what we will do today is to show what art is in Paris and in the international market with Jennifer Flay. Jennifer Flay is the Director Général since beginning of June. Before you were working with a partner, a man, and now you are the only woman in the board. So tell us about what the FIAC is.
Well, FIAC is an international art fair. It's a very old art fair, in fact, with the fair in Cologne and the fair in Basel. It's one of the oldest art fairs in the world. We're on our 37th year. I haven't been with the fair for 37 years myself. I came on board in 2004 when the fair was in a very bad way, had lost all international prominence, and I have to say it was a very uninteresting fair. I didn't attend myself. In my previous life as a gallerist, I had stopped participating. So I was asked to come on board as artistic director to try and change the fair around, put it back on the international stage, which we have succeeded in doing. I think in probably everybody's mind today, FIAC's considered as one of the 2 or 3 most important art fairs in the world, with Basel and, depending on the opinions, Frieze or Miami. So we're up there with the best, and that's been the work of the last 6 years. I did this work in the context of a partnership with Martin Bettenot as general manager, myself as artistic director. And Martin Bettenot has moved on to the Palazzo Grassi in Venice, and the Pointe de la Douane, owned by François Pinault, as probably most of you know, is one of the very richest men in the world, but also an extremely important and passionate art collector who has 2 museum spaces in Venice. And therefore, and very logically, I think, and in a way that surprised nobody, I've become general manager and artistic director, therefore general director.
Okay, so first question. The public image of what role women play in the art market is very well, from my point of view, very well illustrated when we look at pictures from important auctions. We see at least 6 or 8 good-looking, young, well-dressed ladies receiving bids over the phone next to the auctioneers. But the person with the hammer is always a man. Do you think this will ever change?
Well, yes, definitely, and I think it is changing. The cliche of the very cute gallery girl or art girl, which is also vehiculated through gallery staff, through auction assistants, is really only a very minor part of what goes on. It still happens, of course. There are women auctioneers. They don't run the big auctions. They certainly not. They don't have the hammer in the big auctions in the world. But then I wonder whether auctioneering has attracted women in the past. It is a very tough, very competitive, very business-oriented aspect of the art market, and probably, at least from my perspective, certainly not the most important aspect of the art market in terms of discovering and promoting living artists. You will notice, and I think it's our experience, all of our experience, Marie-Jo and Gina, that many of the major gallerists in the world are women. It's probably one of the few areas of really equal opportunity. There are as many powerful women in the art world running major galleries right across the world, including Asia, including South America, as there are men. And that's something that I really, I would really like to stress. Museum curators, the same. I think women have certainly proven themselves as artists and as people that think about art, that promote it, that spot talent, and that know how to work with artists to accompany them in their process of creation. Auctioneering is just one aspect of it, and certainly not the most important as far as creation goes.
So tell me about how you choose the gallery who will attend the FIAC this year.
We have a selection committee, as do all important art fairs. Our selection committee is formed by a body of professionals, of gallerists, who actually are all exhibitors at the fair. So it's a body of peers. The committee is appointed by myself, and I'm looking for people who are representative of different generations, who have different aesthetic points of view, and people from different countries. It so happens that, and this is something that has been noted in the press, there are a number of articles that have appeared about this, but it wasn't something I did on purpose. It so happens that all the people that are on our board this year, on our selection committee, are women. They're all women. They are women who are very, very prominent in the art field. As I said before, women do play a very, very major role and have historically.
Is this the reason why you think you have half men and women?
No, not at all, not at all, not at all. If you look at any art fair in the world, even Basel, I'm sure, I haven't done the statistics, but you'll find that at least half the galleries are run by women. Victoria Miro, Metro Pictures, Barbara Gladstone, Elvira Gonzalez, it goes on and on. Esther Schipper, Philomena Magers, one of the most important galleries in the world, Ruth Magers, based here in Munich and also Berlin and London.
But to me, collecting has always been a male occupation. Even anthropologists have no proper explanation why that is so. Do you think this is changing also, or do we have all, since Destiny's, the same type of woman collector who are able to collect because it's heritage money?
Well, I think that obviously if you're building up your own collection, the prerequisite for that is very, very clearly financial independence, not having to answer to somebody as to how you spend your money. That is something that is increasingly possible for women. There are examples. A recent example in Germany would be Julius Stoschek in Dusseldorf, wonderful collection. And actually, I don't know if there's a Mr. Stoschek. I have no idea. He certainly isn't in the limelight. And there are a number of other women who collect in a very, very significant way in the world. Rosa de la Cruz, for example, in Miami, but she's Cuban, from Cuban origin. Not one of the most socially liberated countries, in my mind. Here in Munich, Ingrid Goetz. Wherever the money comes from, that doesn't really matter to me. When women are financially independent and put themselves in a position where they're making their own decisions, they can certainly build up collections as important as those that men build up.
Behind every successful man, there's a great woman.
There's a great partner. There's a
Okay.
great partner.
In recent years,
Might be a great woman. Another great woman.
In recent years, artists like Christo and Kabakov
Yeah.
have begun including their spouses in their official artist name, resulting in masculine-feminine artists. Is it just a form of chivalry, or it is a sign of finally publicly acknowledging the influence of women?
No, I think it's much more complex than that, and I really, I think it goes back much further as well. I mean, we all have in mind the wonderful invented persona of Marcel Duchamp, Rose c'est la vie. He had his female persona, the name he used in certain occasions, photographs of himself as Rose c'est la vie. I think that actually men do aspire to something which is more generally associated with women, which is the role as a muse, as an inspiring figure. And I think that as women, we'd be really taking the wrong track if we decided to abandon this very, very special and very, how do you say, valorisant, something which is of great value and which has historically been associated with women throughout the ages. I think that this should continue, and I think that men are probably actually, in many ways, envious of that.
Young artists are now experimenting with the web like they have been doing with video since the 60s. Do you think this will affect on the market, or is it just a craze with no future prospects?
Well, experimentation with video has been going on, since the 60s, so it's actually achieved with artists like Marie-Jo a form of maturity, actually, and I think that, no, it's not a passing craze, it's definitely part of legitimate, regular artistic practices with a history and with a future, and an evolving future. What I find very interesting, actually, is the tendency that artists have now to make videos which are which are best viewed in cinematographic projection conditions, meaning in a cinema situation with a beginning, with the public seated a beginning and an end, rather than videos on loops where the attention span tends to be somewhat diminished. And I think that the way the medium is used has changed and developed, which is normal after now 50 years of history. There are other practices that are evolving, which of course are practices associated with the internet.
Okay, so this is a moment to introduce Marie-Jo Lafontaine, who is a Belgian artist. You became internationally well-known and famous, very famous, when you were invited at the Documenta in 1987. So tell us about this experience.
I was at the time, 86, 87, I was in Avignon, and I was preparing something for the Festival d'Avignon when I get a letter from Monsieur Schneckenburger. And it was a handwritten letter. I get it maybe 3 weeks later. And I thought, strange letter coming from Documenta, but written with the hand. And it was an invitation. I thought I didn't give an answer. So 1 week later, I get a letter written by machine and say, maybe you didn't get my first letter, but again, and it was signed. Schneckenburger, and I found such a strange name, Schneckenburger. So after a week, I was calling to a director of a museum in Belgium, and I told him, "Do you know who is Mr. Schneckenburger?" "Of course, it's the director of the Documenta." I said, "Yes, I get an invitation of him, so you have to answer." So that was the beginning of the story with the Documenta, and then
You were one of the only women.
I was one of the only women. I think we were 2 or 3 women. I don't remember so well, but maybe. And of course, Documenta is a place where every 4 years you have an exhibition in Kassel, and the director of this Documenta makes a choose of 100 artists around the world. And so it's a very, very important moment for an artist to get out of on the international level. So that was my chance.
And it became very, very, this changed your life.
changed my life. I got from that moment on. I had a lot of exhibition around the world. I had show from the Guggenheim to the Tate Gallery to the Jeu de Paume and the Centre Georges Pompidou, and so on and so on. So I built my career from that moment on.
So
The international career.
you will show us some of the work.
I will show you two works. So I will show you two works. And the first work will be a work, the name is Dance the World. Dance the World is composed by, is installation, should be shown as an installation on multi-screen and multi-source in the museum. I will show you some pictures. And it happens about 4 dances. 4 dances danced by women. So the first dance is tango, about the erotic. The second dance is the flamenco. The flamenco about the territory. And you will see how she danced. The third person danced the belly dance. And the 5th person danced is a dervish dancer, but a female dervish dancer. And she is one of the only female dervish dancer that I know. She's from Hungary, and she dances but not connected with religion, like the Sufis, but she's dancing, she's Buddhist maybe, and she dances her dance. I will show you first some pictures of how my work shows in a museum. There's already the second one. So this is on 3 screens, just before. Can we see again the first picture? Yeah. Here you see it on 7 screen. It's in a museum in Brussels. So you walk into the space and you're surrounded by the screens. This is in Warsaw, in the museum. You have also the time delay on the pictures. This is about the flamenco. Again, in the same museum, the first one. Here you see the time delay between each image. So that means that you can see the film on a vertical way and on a horizontal way. This is in a church in Brussels. So we can show the film now. No, not that one. Dance the World. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Dance the World.
Marie-Jo, when you do the photographies, you work alone?
No, I work with the crew, and when I make my films or my photographic work, I work with the crew, always. A crew of 20 people, 25 people, and it's a small crew
Paris-Jo, this is more than erotic capital. So is this is a recent work?
4 years ago, yeah.
How many videos do you produce?
I produce nearly one video every 2-3 years because
Okay.
I have to raise the money to do it.
So it's one of the most recent. Was this erotic capital always one or the concern of your work?
In some pieces, yes.
But you didn't focus so much on women before, did you?
More on photographic work. I focused on women, and on the video I mostly focused on men. But we will see the next one later, and it will happen on men.
How? When did it started that you choose the video as your way of being an artist?
I started because when I go to l'École de la Cambre in Brussels, after when I study law, I tried to study art history, and that was not possible because there was no place anymore. So the director told me, maybe you can go to a studio. It was really new, and maybe we have a studio there who works with something like photography and video, moving image. Maybe go and look. Maybe it's interesting for you. So I went there because I couldn't go in a studio for painting because it was full with men. For the sculpture, it was full with men, and you couldn't get a place on those studios.
You didn't abandon photography, but I have a practical questions. Photography today, especially in exhibition, has to be in a big, grand format. Do you think size really matters, and do you use it very, very specific? Would you be the same kind of artist if you wouldn't be able technically to make it big?
Mine images are big enough because they're already like most of the images, 2.50 meters by 2 meters or something like that. But I mean, the museums are big. So if you want to make a show in the museum, you have to have some big images. Otherwise, when they give you, like, let's say in Poznan, they give me next year 2,000 square meters. So how can you fill it up?
So it's not your concern, it's the concern of...
It's a concern
of the market.
And the market also. The market, on a certain moment, wanted to have big pieces. And the first big pieces that I did in photography was 87. I did my first, I was really a pioneer, like I was in the video, I was a pioneer, and immediately I worked with installation, and immediately I worked with large photography, because the small photography is a completely other domain. It has more to do with reportage or other type of photography. But here, the plastic photography, immediately they were more larger and bigger and important.
So let's look at the 87 video.
So this is...
Yeah,
please.
tell us.
This is the video. I will show you now the installation of the Documenta. Oh, so that's it. So it was a huge sculpture, three-dimensional. You see, that's the backside. And this was the time delay that you have between every screen. And this sculpture belongs to two museums buy a sculpture. And last time when I had a show, a major show at the museum in Brussels, I asked to the museums if they want to lend me the piece, and they refused. They refused because they are anxious because Sony stopped the producing of monitors. And so if they don't produce any more monitors, you can't fit a new monitor in the installation, the original installation. So I did a new one, and this is the new installation that I did for the museum, because we can't have any more the monitors, and this is a real problem for the future of video installation,
How to archive them.
as well for Nam June Paik as for myself.
And now we will
See,
see
yeah.
the
You will see the
new one.
the new one. Okay, we can show it.
Costa diva,
Thank you, Marie-Jo. And this video is 23 years old? 26 years old. And it's very, very modern. How do you feel today about it?
If you go and see the Flemish primitive, they are very modern too.
Okay. I think I really want to thank Steffi for inviting us and to this
Very
terrific,
Steffi.
to this terrific. Thank you, Maria, and thank you,
Thank
Steffi,
you, Maria. Thank
for
you.
inviting
Thank you,
us.
Steffi.
to this terrific conference. Okay.
And thank you, everybody, that you look at this. Thank you. Thank you.